Hello everyone, it's Natasha from Treasure Books. This video starts with a simple idea, a book of scraps where we're using all the leftover bits from our other projects. This kind of stuff and this kind of stuff. But then the idea takes a life of its own and grows into something truly special. And you see the process of this book from inception to completion, plus you get steps to follow so that you can make your own treasure book in your own time. I recommend watching the full video as you're crafting and starting the book, but to really take your time with this project. So it doesn't have to be from inception to completion in a week, but rather let this be your playground for months to come. All right, let's get started. For this project, you're going to need scraps, your paper scraps. So I'm going to be using my organized folder here, as you can see, my organized paper scraps, but these are smaller. I'm going to be using the smaller scraps, and I know that we all have them. We have large scraps, we have small scraps, we have teeny tiny scraps. Perhaps we don't all have them organized like this. This is my folder, my other folder with the larger scraps. I'm not going to use this. I'm just showing you for a bit of inspiration. I do have a video on organizing those scraps. It's a bit silly, isn't it, organizing scraps? But the thing is, with paper scraps, there's just it's never ending, it never stops. Even when you're making a paper scrap project, you are creating paper scraps. So I do have plenty of videos on using up your paper scraps, but yet look at this, there's plenty. All right, next thing you need is some type of a sturdy, doesn't have to be cardstock, but something that has a little bit of weight. So if you've seen my last week's video where I made these pyramid books, I was using this black cardstock, and this is actually how today's idea came about. So anyway, I'm going to be using this black paper. If you don't have black, it doesn't matter. It can be white. It can be anything you want. And this came out of an old scrapbook, or I don't know what they are. These things, you might have one lying around. I think they're supposed to be maybe for photos or something, because they all have this piece. And of course I removed and kept all of these pieces from the other album. But yeah, you can use white pages, you can use whatever you want. I'm using black because I think it's going to look great. Plus I have it, you know. Okay, first I'm going to chop all of these pieces off so they're not in my way. So I did want to say one more thing before I speed everything up. I think it's going to look better if you're using non-patterned paper. So one solid color. Doesn't matter what the color is, black, white, cream, orange, whatever you have. But I think it's better than using patterned paper like this, you know, because then any scrap you put on it kind of gets lost amongst all of the busyness, right? Whereas look on the black, you know, I'm going to randomly choose the number 5 of pages for my journal. It can be 6, it can be 10, it can be whatever you want. I'm going to do 5. Okay, so I've cut down 5 pieces, and now I'm just going to check for paper grain. It's not that important, but I can see that my paper folds easier this way, so I'm going to fold it also this way. And that way I am avoiding any cracklings or cracks on the spine. Perfect. And now I'm going to nestle all of my pages together to make a book. Now, at this point, you can decide how tall do you want your book. You can leave it like this and have a really tall book. You can do whatever you want. Let's say I want mine to be about this tall. So just randomly, I'm going to cut it down and tell you how tall it is if you want to know. And also I'm going to cut this down to have nice straight edges. Okay, my pages are cut down and I've decided that I wouldn't mind having another page in there. So now this book becomes a book of 6 pages. Well, 6 times 4 is 24, so that gives me 24 sides to work on. Okay, plenty of space. So we'll be gluing things in and sticking things on, and this is gonna get a little bit chunkier, so I think this is enough. Okay, in case you want to know, here are the measurements. I mean, who cares, but anyway, 5 3/4, and then we have 8 3/4 of an inch high, so 8 3/4 height. All right, now I have an idea in my mind. Obviously you know what we're doing because I probably showed you in the introduction, but at this point of my journey I have no idea where this is going to take me. All I know is that I have lots of scraps that I want to do something with, and another thing I know is that I just want an easy project where I don't have to think and I can just do, which is what this is about for me. For you, this might be something that you start today and it's an ongoing thing. You add to it as you go. I am just going to start taking scraps of paper. I'm not going to be like trimming them down, maybe here and there, but the idea is that I'm just using up my scraps. Now this, for now, this is all it is. But down the track, I might turn this into an art journal, or I might journal in some, I don't know what I'm going to do. But for now, this is all I'm doing. Might be silly, might be very, very silly. But a lot of things are silly at the very beginning and ugly and questionable. But then at the end, in the end, we have this beautiful thing. So hopefully in the introduction, which I usually film like after everything is done, hopefully I had a beautiful thing to show you and you are here like inspired to make it. So, all right, I might do minimal cutting here and there. You know what I'm saying? The idea is to use the scraps that you have, not to create more scraps by cutting scraps into smaller scraps, but occasionally I might. All right, and now I'm also thinking, what if, here I am cutting just after I've said don't do it, but I'm also thinking, what if I start introducing like something like this? Not too much, but just something to break the rigidity of the project so far. Okay, I'm actually quite happy with how this is looking. I would probably take a photo here, but I'm filming with my phone, so I can't do that. So anyway, I've laid down my pieces, but you might not want to be doing this. But I'm thinking like, if I just, not all the pieces, but if I just ink some edges, because you know me by now probably, it just makes a difference. Like, you see that, you can't deny. Do not deny. And I am at this point envisioning a book, like a whole book, done like this. One, I'm using my scraps. I'm doing something that's completely mindless and meditative, and I can do it something like this after every single project, or like at the end of my crafting day or whatever. You know, you set up your routine the way you like it. But that's what I'm kind of envisioning. And now that I have the idea in my head, I just want to do the whole thing like right now. But the idea basically is to use the scraps without necessarily making something. Like, we're not making well, kind of we are making a collage, but we're not looking at placement and focal point and none of that. We're just gluing scraps down. You might want to ink the edges, you might not. You might just want to go in and do your thing. Now for the gluing aspect, you may or may not have seen my glues video, it doesn't matter, but usually I use a solvent based glue which doesn't warp or wrinkle paper. In this instance, I don't care about warping or wrinkling, so I'm actually going to use my PVA glue. But since there might be a screw or two missing in my head, I like to use 2 glues for whatever that reason is. I think I like to be double sure. I definitely don't like to be double serious. I don't like being serious full stop, especially double serious. But you see what I'm doing here. I mean, you can just do the PVA glue or whatever glue and not worry about the glue stick. But, you know, I'm just going overboard as usual with the whole glue thing. I'm obsessed. And the reason why I do it is because I don't want any edges lifting. Not even a tiny little corner. So now I'm thinking down the track, I might want to turn this into an art journal, but I digress. Don't worry, I'm going to speed up a lot of this process. I'm just going to do one page with you and then I'll do the rest, whatever. So the reason why I went into that is because I just want to say I don't know how I'm going to use this, which is why I want to ensure that it's all properly glued down. I have lots of videos on using up your scraps to make this and that, but I've never done just a simple book of scraps. A book of scraps with no goal, I suppose, in mind, no end goal in mind. Like, it's not, even though I have been throwing out ideas what I want to do with it, maybe I might not do anything with it. Maybe it will just be my book of scraps and leave it at that. At this point, I'm just enjoying the process. So if so far this isn't quite your thing, I just want to show you another idea. You may have seen this in the past. I've spoken about it, but this was my scraps project, I suppose, where I started using leftover scraps of paper, and you can see I have a whole bunch of scraps over here that I can use. And I was making houses. You can see that, like whimsical houses, and it was a process of like a little bit of journaling or just fake writing and just gluing things down. This might be your thing. So this is actually something. We're making houses, okay? And I'm using my offcuts. And then what happened was I stopped. Actually, that was the last one that I did. I stopped because there was too much thinking involved, for me at least. Like, I started looking at what goes with what. What kind of window should I have? Or should I do a bit of sewing? Oh, I need to add a number. I'm gonna go look for a number. And, you know, I need a sticker. Oh, what's gonna be here? So I didn't give up, but I kind of did a little bit for now. Anyway, I am gonna keep going with this. And this might be something that you like better than what I'm doing today, which is just mindless scrap gluing. And this, I will get round to it. Get it? Okay. Going back to the sweetness of the scrap gluage, I think at this point I'm ready to completely abandon the glue stick altogether and just use the PVA glue, because I am using this brush to spread it all the way to the edges anyway. So, and now what I'm going to do is just smooth this out. Make sure that all the edges are glued. And at this point, you can grab a brayer or whatever you have, or just your hand, really. But I have this fancy tool, which I found at a thrift store. I can't remember what it's for, but I use it for all sorts of stuff, including this. I'm just gonna smooth everything down. All those nasty little edges that are trying to unpeel themselves. Well, not under my watch. Oh, no, 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 no. Everything is lovely. So we shall now notice that we have a little bit of warpage going on. It's not too bad. And you know what? It doesn't matter for this project. And we might at this point want to like turn it upside down and have a look at it from another perspective. It doesn't matter. I might, you know, I might want to like cut this circle out and glue it right over here, but I'm not gonna. Or am I? I might just do this. Or something. I'm gonna allow myself to have as much fun with this as I want, and if I want to go cutting more bits, I'm gonna, even though I said not to do that. Hopefully you're crafting with me right now. I hope you're doing something interesting and fun. Perhaps you're cleaning your kitchen. That, you know, can be interesting and fun. Basically, as I'm doing this, I'm thinking, okay, what can I use this for, you know? If you've ever watched or followed people who do art journaling, and you might see that oftentimes they won't finish a page completely, or they will come back to it 3 years later and add more paint. And with this, you can do the same thing. If you're not into art journaling and using paint, which I'm not really that much into that, then, you know, this might be your thing. Just gluing paper and leave this for now and then come back later. And, you know, when you're crafting on another day and then you have another piece and then you can plop it down. Or you can, for example, let's say you read a quote today. Well, sometimes I write things for myself. So here we go, like something like this. Your home is an extension of your energy field. I don't know. Who needs therapy when you have nature? Just little reminders. It can be anything that speaks to you. Never let your storm get your kids wet. They're just like little reminders and little quotes and inspirational things. So having something like this, maybe you can do, it can be like your little quote thing. And not on every single piece, but it can be like your little journaling. It can be a daily thing. It can be a gratitude thing. But obviously you can't journal on all of the, you know, you might do a little bit here or a full little something over here and a little something here. And that way it gives you, these are just ideas I'm throwing out, you know. Hopefully it's gonna kind of ignite your own imagination on what you want to do with this concept. Okay, so now I'll do one more page together and then I'll do everything else, come back and show you what I've done. I have plenty of little scraps that I can use up, and I'm going to refrain from trying to build a theme, because I can go into, oh, let's do the greens together and let's do the blues together and the pinks, and I want to stay away from that. I know that I have a tendency towards perfectionism, and that's why I'm giving myself rules right at the beginning. Like, I'm not allowed to start looking for stickers and fun things and like something gold. Now I'm thinking I want something gold. No, because I don't have anything right here. Another thing I want to say is I don't want to pull all of my scraps out, just a handful, and see what I can do with that. And it's a creative practice. It makes it more fun when you contain yourself. I'm wondering if I should include things like this. Now I'm thinking it will be really, really fun to sew around the pieces. You see what I mean? Like, my brain keeps wanting to like make this look better, and it keeps wanting to make it into something, whereas the whole idea is that it's a nothing. It's just it's a scrapbook, book of scraps. Now scraps don't come with beautifully sewn corners, do they? No. All right, so as you can see, I have my little spread over here with my scraps. I got a bit fancy over here, so arty. Oh. And now I'm going to glue all of this down. I'm just gonna go piece by piece. At this point, okay, I promise I'll stop talking now and I'll just speed everything up. But I just want to say, at this point, just to make it easier for myself and maybe for you too, we are just gluing scraps down. We're not trying to make it look pretty. But down the track, there'll be plenty of time to make this into an actual something and to make it look pretty. The plan is to cover all of the sides, all of the pages, so not just one side. It's totally up to you what you want to do. You might want to just do one side, so then you have something like this. But I want to do everything, and then it's going to look something like this. All right, once I have completed the 4 sides, which for now I just have 1, 2, 3, so I have to do one more. I'm gonna quickly do it and I'll be back. This one is going under something heavy. A few hours later, I have just completed this page, spread, I don't know what you want to call it. I'm gonna go ahead and finish all of the pages, so I have another 4 to go. Once they're all done, I'll come back and I don't know what's gonna happen by then. I'll probably have something interesting to say, but in the meantime, well, I'm hoping that you've started your own book of scraps already, and if you haven't, make sure you do, because we're gonna have fun with this. Okay, I'm back. It's a couple of days later and I'm back full of ideas, so I'm really excited to keep going with this book. I thought that this is going to be it. I'm going to glue my pieces of paper down or scraps down, and then I have a book of scraps. But no, we shall not stop here. So I'm just showing you what I've got so far. Obviously I have 6 of these pages which are now full of paper scraps, and now we have a little book, and now we're going to take it places. Anyway, so as I said, I have lots of ideas, and I'm going to write the ideas as I go of what we can do with this book. I think I missed a page here. I just want to show you here towards the last few pages, I started incorporating my scraps that are, you know, uneven shaped. I first started with this kind of a thing, like real straight edges, rectangular and square kind of thing. And then I just started using all the scraps that I have. And I have to say, I did make a dent in my scraps folder. Okay, so we have made the book, which is just cardstock folded in half. We've done gluing of the paper scraps. All right, first 2 steps are done. There's going to be like 12 steps if you want to keep going with this. Totally up to you. Now, before we bind the journal, I am going to start applying other things to it. So this will be like a mixed media art journal, but without the art. We're not drawing faces and stuff, unless you want to. All right, step 3. I want to go in with just a little bit of paint on every page, paint or watercolor. Or watercolor, you can do both. All right, so I'm going in with wet medium before binding of the book so that I can go through it quickly. I can take this page, apply paint, put it aside, take this, you know, whereas if we have it in book form, when I apply paint here, I can't turn the page to start working on this page, because then, you know what's going on. The paint will stick to the other side. All right, so I'm gonna go in with watercolor and just see what happens, because it's black cardstock. I don't know if this is gonna show up, but I've got a bit of gold here. Oh, look at that. Going on to the next page. Not too much, because I have a whole bunch of other elements I wanna add to this. And I think this is going to be one of those projects that you'll kind of have to keep coming back to. This video is going to be all of the things we can do condensed in one, but the project is something that you work on over some time, right? Remember the COVID tests? My COVID tests expired, so I have all of these little things, and of course I can use them in my art. Pretty cool. We can do things like this. Oh, we can do so much fun stuff. And I'm not even going to worry about it looking good, or, you know, I'm just adding color. I ordered this metallic watercolor on eBay a while ago, and I complained in a video that it's not very good. And somebody said to me to saturate the watercolor with water and leave it for about 5 or so minutes before I start using it. And let me tell you, what a difference that has made. I had no idea. I mean, these colors are coming up real bright, whereas when I first kind of used them, it was just like a very faint color. Okay, now that the watercolor is done, I can go back to the first page, and that's nearly dry. It doesn't matter if it smudges a bit, you know, at this point. I'm not really gonna care too much, but I'm gonna pop some paper down and turn this around. So I've got a little bit of watercolor on one side. I'm gonna turn it around, and on this side, I'm going to add paint. All right, for my paint, I randomly selected red, copper and blue, simply because I don't want to put too much thought into this. I just want to add a little bit of color. And again, you know, I'm going to use a makeup sponge, and just, you can splash, you can do whatever you want. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to use a stencil and plop color through the stencil. I've got red on this makeup sponge, and I'm just gonna do this. Okay, I think that's enough for that one. We're just adding a tiny little bit here and here. And remember, each one of these pages is an individual page, so maybe I can do just a little bit more over here and just there. All right, I'm gonna let that dry. So this way what will happen is I will have paint on one page, and then when I turn the page I have a bit of watercolor. I really could have done more. Now that I'm letting loose a little bit, I'm just gonna add a bit more. This is an exercise in letting loose. Yes, we have watercolor and paint. Okay, on to the next page. Here's a little bit of watercolor on that side, and on the other side I'm gonna add paint, and I'm gonna go in with blue this time. And I'm gonna use this stencil. I might do blue and red. And if you're a journal maker like me, rather than like a mixed media artist or an art journaler, this kind of a project is really helpful because we tend to shy away from using all the mediums available to us, such as paint, for example, when we're making journals, because I don't know why. Whereas this way, like, imagine just adding a little bit of paint to a page in a journal. I've never done it before, unless I'm like playing in an art journal or something. So this is really good practice. Okay, moving on to the third page. I'm gonna go in with copper this time around. And of course, if you don't have stencils, you can use anything that makes marks on paper. This is my mark making box. I have things like this and things like this. Anyway, I'm not gonna go through all of this, but you know, this kind of a thing will work. Just do a bit of stamping. I suppose I don't want to complicate the process too much. All right, I have to remind myself to not add too much, you know, stuff, because there's plenty more other things that I want to do. And this is the cover. I want to be a little bit more careful with what I do with the cover, I suppose. Clearly, I'm really liking the watercolor. One more piece to go. I keep coming back to the watercolor and these dots. Fantastic. Okay, so watercolor and paint has been added to all the pages on both sides. So each page has either watercolor or paint or both. All right, now I can go back to my very first page because all of this now is dry, I believe, and if it isn't, it doesn't matter. So the next step that I want to do, the next thing I want to add to my pages, again, you can choose whether you want to do this or not. You can go in, I'm just looking at like a pencil. You can go in and do whatever you want, right? Okay, just saying. But I am going to go with step number 4, which is modeling paste or texture paste. This is gonna look so fun when it's done. All right, here's my modeling paste, and I'm gonna go page by page, let it dry, and then turn around each page and do more. I pulled out just a few little things out of a few little stencils. Now, if you don't have modeling paste, first of all, you can DIY modeling paste. I have a video on that. I'm going to link it down below. You can use like talcum powder, which I know people aren't fan of anymore, but most talcum powders now are made with, not with talc, but with cornstarch. So you can use cornstarch. Anyway, let's just keep going. So if you don't have modeling paste, you can make your own, or otherwise you can skip the whole thing. If you don't have stencils, you can grab paint and just make marks, like make raised bits of paint and let it dry. I'm going in with modeling paste and I'm hoping for the best over here, you know? I'm really hoping you're gonna join me on this adventure. You'll probably, if this is the first round of watching, and I would recommend to watch the whole video first, You can watch the whole video while making your book of scraps. Oh, look how good that's looking. That's looking real nice. Okay, next stencil I have is this one. I don't know how this one's gonna go. What do we think? Not too shabby, but not great either. We shall be fine. All right, I'm gonna pop this down. I'm gonna add some more modeling paste. This is pretty cool. All right, I'm gonna call that one done. I've got this stencil as well. I bought this in Croatia recently and I've never used it, so I don't know how it's gonna work, but it seems like for modeling paste, these intricate designs work the best, where the holes, see how this one's got large holes? Not great, because things move, whereas this one, oh, look how good that looks. I probably should have added more, but you know, it's got little designs, little holes. I think that's the best for modeling paste. All right, I think this stencil is my new favorite stencil. Let's see. Oh my, oh, would you look at that? How cool is that looking? We have a bit of smudging and stuff like that, you know, we have some imperfections, but do we care? Absolutely no, we don't. Oops, I just got some on the other side. That's fine, you know, but I'm gonna take it off anyway. Look at this sweetness. By the way, you can also mix your modeling paste with acrylic paint to make a colorful modeling paste, or you can simply do this. Let's say you add your modeling paste to the project, and then you have a little bit of color over here on the side, like I do. I have a bit of color left over, and I can just go over the top with the color. How's this gonna look? Oh, Lord knows. A little bit busy, you know, but it's fine. At this point, I'm really telling myself to let go of any kind of perfection I might have. Look what I've done. I've mixed in the acrylic paint in with the modeling paste, and you know what? I don't even care. This was an unexpected little thing over here. It's starting to look like a house. All right, here comes the cover. Well, of course, for the cover, I'm gonna use my best supply, which is this stencil. Oh, fancy, very busy. All right, on the back, I'm just gonna do a little bit. Okay, so at this point, I've done all of my pages, the one side. Now I'm gonna let everything dry, and in the meantime, you know, clean up and all of that. And once this is all dry, I'm gonna turn it around and I'm gonna add modeling paste on the other side as well, simply because that's what I decided I'm gonna do. I want modeling paste on all of the pages. What you want to do, totally up to you. Okay, so I'll be back when everything's done. Okay, now that that's all done and I have modeling paste on both sides, I am going to now go into step 5, I suppose. And I'm gonna add gold foiling. Again, you can skip this step if you wanna, totally up to you. This is what I'm talking about. I'm not even sure how to apply this, but I'm just going to use glue. They're just like little gold flecks, gold foil. I have this silver one as well. It's very cheap, $1.70 this one was. This one says paper flakes, but they're not paper, they're like little foil. And like I said, I'm not entirely sure how these are supposed to be applied, but I'm just gonna pop a little bit of PVA glue into a dish and just start applying a little bit of glue here and there. Let's go over here into the edge, get a bit of a gold flake happening and plop it down. If you know the correct method of doing this, please let me know. I might use a dry brush and just stick that into the glue. Is that how it's supposed to be done? I don't know, but it looks good. I don't think I'm doing this right, but meh, I'm just gonna keep going. All right, just a little bit of gold foiling here and there. I don't know how I feel about this, but I'm gonna do it on all the pages. So that's one of the pages done. Moving on to the next. I should really Google how to do this properly, but I'm not gonna. It just kind of looks like blobs now, but I'm certain that it's going to look great once the whole project is done. So now I'm gonna do all the pages. Okay, it's about 10 minutes later and I've done all of the gold on both sides, so it's not dry yet. But I think that, I'm not sure, but I think you're supposed to apply it and then go over it with a brush, and then whatever's not glued down is gonna come off. I'm not sure. I mean, everything looks pretty glued down. So maybe that's how it's supposed to be done. You're supposed to like glue it down, let it dry, and then come back. Oh, look what I did over here. That looks so good. And then come back and kind of use some type of a brush and brush it off. That's looking so nice. It's pretty well glued down. Still not dry. Okay, let's just focus on the gold. This side and the other side. Nothing's looking fabulous yet, but when the project is done, it's gonna look, I'm pretty sure it's gonna look pretty good. I like this one. We've got paint, we've got modeling paste, we've got that beautiful gold flecks, and we've got watercolor. And what's next? All right, so my next thing that I want to do is sewing. Again, up to you. And now I'm thinking I might want to do like some spraying as well. And then binding. Actually, let's do this. I'm gonna do spraying first and then I'm gonna do sewing. Okay, since I have to wait for the other things to dry, I'm just gonna go ahead and spray a bit of, this is pretty much the only spray that I have. It's of course gold, but you know, you can get paint and you can get a toothbrush and you can do the whole, you know, you can get a brush and just do this with the paint if you wanna, you know. I'm gonna do this. I have to switch my sprayers. Maybe I can just do this. Anyway, this one is clogged, so I usually have a clean one. Oh, okay, that'll do. I'll just do a bit of spraying on all of them and then I'll clean my desk. And now I'm going to do the other side. Even though this side isn't dry yet, I'm not gonna care. I'm just gonna go ahead and spray. That's looking good. The other side didn't get messed up. Spray away, spray away, spray away. If you wanna spray away, spray away. And lucky last. Loveliness. All right, I'm gonna let all of them dry and I'll be right back. Okay, everything is nice and dry and I couldn't get that paint off my nails. What's up with that? All right, now I'm going to go in with the stitching. So what I'm going to do, I'll do a couple on screen and then I'll move on. This is looking so fabulous. Look at this, it just looks so beautiful. So what I'm going to do is I'll probably go in with white thread and I'm just gonna do a stitch here and a stitch here and a stitch here, you know, no rhyme or reason. I'm just gonna bring out my sewing machine and get to sewing. Just adding some stitches. And then at the front, we know what it looks like, but we don't know what it looks like at the back. It's a surprise. Here we go. All right, there's a stitch there. That's fine. That's fine by me. I'm gonna do something here. That's what we have on this side and on the other side. Now I'm thinking, do I want to change threads and maybe go in with black? You know, who knows? I might not. Okay, so that's one sheet done. I've got 6 of these, so I'm going to do that off camera. And now I'm just going to go in and remove all of the threads. So the details really are very kind of not obvious at first. You can see the stitching here and the stitching here, and then stitching down here and stitching here. Nothing like full on, you know. You can, instead of say using your sewing machine, you can do a bit of embroidery, let's say, you know, that'll be quite fun too. All right, I'm gonna go and do all of the stitching off screen and I'll be back and show you what I've done. Okay, all of the sewing has been done and I put it back into book form. I'm gonna show you what I've done. Okay, I have black thread, so I just did white and black. First I did white and then I went in with black, just little pieces here and there, a little bit of sewing here and there. Like I said, I have black over here and white on the sides, black over here, white, black, white, really not much. There's a bit of white here, and that's of course showing through to the other side. And then I have black and white, and that's showing through on the other side, black up here, and you can't really see this one because I did it from the other side, which is over here. Did black, black, white, can't see there but can see here. And then on this page I have black down the bottom, you can see it better from this side, black, white, a bit of this and a bit of that, white and black, and done. No, not done. White, white, black. Anyway, you get the idea. And I think my book is looking so beautiful. This reminds me of a house, this section here. I'm loving where this is going, to be honest. And of course we are not done. We are not. Oh no, because I have more planned for this. So the next step, okay, here's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking the next step can be binding, because I don't need to do any wet medium anymore and let it dry open. I still want to keep adding stuff to this. I have specific categories we're going to go through, but I'm thinking that I can bind this book. So if you want, you can do a 3-hole pamphlet stitch, bind your book. This is your front cover. However, what I want to do is add a separate cover, because this is going to get real chunky. Like I said, I'm going to be adding more stuff. So I quickly rummaged through my stuff and I found this scrap piece of leather. You use whatever you have. And I want to keep this just the way it is. Like, I don't want to do anything to it. I don't want to cut it straight. This is a book of scraps. And I know this looks ugly now, but I believe it's not going to be ugly when it's done. So basically what I want to do is I'm going to call this my cover. So now I'm just thinking, what do I do now? What? Somebody tell me. What do I do? Here's what I'm thinking. Going back into the scraps, I had these 2 pieces. I'm going to cut them down, make them look nice. But I'm thinking that I can do like a book plate over here. I believe it's going to look good when it's done. But I don't want to put too much thought into it, you see? So I think I can do this later, because all I want to do right now is bind my pages together. And then I can worry about, I'm going to add a closure here and all that fun stuff and make a book plate and everything. But I think I want to finish the inside first before I do all of that. But I can't finish the inside until I've bound. Well, I can, but I don't want to for some reason. I want to do the binding now. So that's what I'm gonna do. And just thinking, what kind of closure do I want, because I would like the closure also to be bound in. How's this looking? Pretty ugly, huh? Pretty ugly, but we can make it look pretty. What I'm going to do is mark, perhaps is that the middle? I don't know. And the top and the bottom, and then one in the middle there, one in the middle there. And I shall do the same on the back. Maybe I'll do it different in the back. I'll do it like this. I'll just do 3 at the back. Now I'm gonna punch holes. All right, that's the back. And my spacings are pretty much horrendous over here at the front, but we are not going to dwell. This is all about just doing whatever. I mean, don't get me wrong. I would have liked the holes here to be evenly spaced, but what can I do now? So next thing, I'm gonna add eyelets. Here we go. It just is what it is, uneven. That's all right. The whole thing is uneven. So eyelets to the back, and there it is. Maybe I can scruff this leather up a bit. What do you think? What will happen if I go in with some of this stuff? Sanding paper. This whole time I was thinking, what is this thing called? I'm not loving what I'm doing, but I'm doing it anyway to wrap it up. Oh, don't scrub up the table. Oh, should have done this before I put the eyelets in. Don't do this to your leather couches. I don't know what I was hoping to achieve with this, if I'm being honest. But I probably should have used this side. But anyway, here we go. My little saddle. The saddle for the journal is done. It's very satisfying. So now I don't have to worry about, oh, if I do this to it, it's gonna leave marks. Now I don't have to worry about that. So here we go. Okay, now with the closure, I was thinking to simply put something through, and I could get something nicer than this, but it's a book of scraps, is it not? I mean, this isn't a scrap, but it's not a pretty material either. So we're going for the scrappy kind of a thing by the looks of it. I'm just trying not to be precious with this project is what I'm trying to do. And you know, I can get precious with my things, and I can get a little bit, you know, being a perfectionist, and I want everything just so, and everything has to be perfect. Not today. No, sorry. All right. And now all of this is going to be bound together like so. I just want to see how it looks. How's it going to look? Well, the journal is going to be full of chunk. There's going to be lots of chunk in this junk. Okay. Next step is binding. So you can completely skip doing the cover, adding this extra piece, and you can just go into the next step, which is binding. And I'm thinking I'm going to do a 5-hole pamphlet stitch, just so that everything is in place. So 5-hole, I'm gonna do it, but I'll draw a little diagram over here. So we're gonna have something like this. This is the spine. We're gonna make 5 holes. 2, 3, 4, 5. And we're gonna bind this way. We're gonna go in from the middle. From the inside of the journal, we're going to go out, do a figure 8, skip, do a figure 8, and go back inside. Does that make any sense? In through the middle, figure 8, skip the middle, go out, and back inside. Let's do it. Oh, it's the evening now. I had to do all the other things we have to do, unfortunately, in between crafting, you know, all the other things we must do, like mothering and cleaning and all that stuff, taxi service and so on. Okay, before I do binding, I'm just going to do a little bit of a hand stitch along here on this edge, and then we'll do the binding. Something squishy, and I'm just going to punch some holes and start stitching. It's not easy stitching through leather, but anyway, I'm doing it now. So I'm gonna punch holes and then stitch, and then punch holes and then stitch, and so on. And here we go. Doesn't that look better? I like how that looks. I was contemplating going all the way around, but I'm just gonna leave everything else as it is, and that'll do. All right, now we can move on to binding. And I was thinking of doing it tomorrow when it's daytime again, daylight. But you know what? I'm just going to do it now. I know it's not ideal because there's some shadows and stuff, but I'm sure that you can see what I'm doing. We're going to do a 5-hole pamphlet stitch, which means that I need 5 holes. And I'm only going through my pages, not through the cover. Not yet anyway. All right. 1 hole in the middle. And then I'm going to do 1 up the top. Perhaps an inch from the top of the book. And the same down the bottom here, about 3/4 of an inch, I would say. And then in between the middle hole and the bottom hole, I'm gonna go somewhere there, right in the middle of those two. And the same here, middle hole, top hole, and I'm gonna go somewhere in between those two. And just so you can see, in case you can't see, I'm employing all of my awls here. So you can see the 5, oh, you probably can't see anything. Those are my 5 holes. Okay, I'm gonna pop my awl back in the middle here just to hold everything in place. And now I'm gonna grab my cover and position that. I would like this middle hole to go right through the middle of my closure. So right there in the middle. And I'm gonna poke some holes. I'm just going through the cover now. So there's 1, I'm gonna go into the second hole over here and go through the cover. 2. So only 3 holes are gonna go through the cover. I'm gonna go into this one and through the cover. And by the looks of it, this bottom hole is also gonna go through the cover. Just okay. I am going to use the strongest string that I have. This is some waxed thread, really strong. All right, let's go back to the diagram. Sorry about the shadow. What can I do? So to reiterate, we're gonna go in through the middle hole, figure of 8, skip the middle hole, figure of 8, back inside, tie a knot. If it doesn't make sense, it's just about to. But I'm gonna leave this here so you can kind of see. I don't know if you'll be able to see. So in through the middle hole. Now we're gonna go figure of 8. So we're going back inside of the journal through the next available hole. I'll turn the journal this way. And just to make it easier, I'm gonna go through the cover first and then through the book. Excellent. We're gonna go out again through the next available hole, the very top hole. So far we've done this, and now we're out here, and now we're gonna go back in through the next available hole, which is this one right here. And let the struggle begin. Oh, that wasn't too bad. Pull that nice and tight. Now that I'm back inside through this hole, I'm gonna skip the middle hole and I'm gonna go down into the next hole and go all the way through. And now from here, we're going to do another figure 8. So I'm going back in the bottom hole. Use any tool available to you. And now we're going to go into this hole. Here I am. And now we're going to go back in through the middle hole and tie a knot. First, I'm just tightening everything and off I go. I hope that wasn't too confusing. If it was, I apologize. Maybe just do a 3-hole pamphlet stitch. We can chop this off. Make everything nice and tight. Tie a knot and a double knot. That's the binding done. And plus I've bound through this this string as well, this closure. So that's also kind of stitched in. All right. And now I can keep it closed, especially when we're finished with this journal. When it gets real chunky, I'm gonna have this closure to keep it all contained. Okay, next thing I'm gonna do is the book plate. Okay, here's the plan. I'm gonna do that, and then I'm gonna do that, and then I stamped, not very good, didn't do a very good job, but I did that. And you know what, I'm not gonna even care that it's not perfect. And then I'm gonna do that, and I'm gonna secure everything with brads. I just wanted to show you, I very slightly painted the edge of this black card with my gold watercolor over here. Just like that. Okay, that's looking really good. And the cover is finally done, and the best part is that you can't see the little feet on the inside because it's hidden. Well, that's not the best part, but it's the bonus, of course. And now, most definitely, I'm going to retire for the night and continue tomorrow in the daylight. Okay, our next item on the agenda is to add a fabric scrap or a bit of lace to every page. So I'm going to go into my box of goodness over here and just pull out some little things that I have, some pieces of lace, maybe even stuff like this. I'm going to pull it out, why not? Little things like this, maybe some little bits of fabric, or you know the drill. We're just doing little scraps. Maybe you can do a ribbon, whatever you have. Tiny little bits of lace, why not? Something like this maybe, fabric, and so on. Digging through the treasure box. Oh, we even have stuff like this. And of course I have another box of just fabric scraps. I don't know why I keep all these things. Even tea bags. There's all sorts of things to be found in my little junk troves. I'm going to start on the first page here, and I'll leave the cover for last. And I'm thinking I want things to be sticking out all over the place, maybe tabs, just fun stuff. But once again, no overthinking allowed. Okay, just quickly, I'm going to leave the last page and the front page as it is. I'm not going to add any lace or fabric, and I'll just show you what I've done. I have a piece here, there, and there, just a bit of lace, bit of ribbon down here, then this thing over here, and then this, a little bit of lace just over here. And then I have this trim on the side and this trim on this side, and a little flower and some fabric, little collage, I suppose you can say, just there. And then burlap over here and a bit of this, and then a bit of lace and a little tab up here, and gold and black fabric, and this beautiful thing. Okay, that's not really scrap, you know, but I can do whatever I want, right? Have a tab over here, and that's all there is on that page. And then a little trim over here. Just not really thinking too hard where I'm gonna place things, but just placing things and trusting the process. I have this up here and this beautiful gold kind of a flower. I did cut that out of this piece. This is all that I have left. I'm being very stingy with it. And that's it for the fabric and the lace. I just want to show you. I was trying to find a place for this leaf, but it just did not happen. I want to show you when the journal is closed, we have all these little bits sticking out, and I really like how that looks. All right, next thing on the agenda is some words or journaling or a sentiment, kind of like something like this, you know, or you can do quotes. Just add some words to every page. So for example, I'm just going to do this one on screen, and this came out of a book, okay? And then I'm going to do everything else off screen and come back and show you, because my child is going to play basketball now, and it's going to be very loud. I'm going to do most of this stuff off screen, but I'm just going to show you one example. You can do clippings from magazines, as long as it's some words. And you know what? It doesn't even have to be real words. We can do something like fake words. I didn't actually write anything there. It's just fake writing, but it adds something fun to the page. Okay, let's get to it, shall we? I just want to show you where I'm going with this. I just have a few little things on my desk. I actually cut up a book recently because it fell apart after I finished reading it. And I cut out these little phrases, and they're just coming in handy right now because they kind of go together. Look at this. What makes you feel alive? Less fear, more freedom is the answer to that. And never being afraid to try. I don't know. Does it go? I'm thinking maybe I can do something like this. Not gonna overthink too much, because after all, this book is for me and it has to make sense to me. So maybe I can glue my words down like this. By the way, this came from a book called Do Less, Get More. just in case if you want to read the book. I mean, not that it helped me to do less and get more done. The premise of it sounds very appealing, doesn't it? And really, you can give any meaning to any page. For example, over here, I'm seeing a tree and then like leaves and stuff. And then this looks like a tree trunk. And this can be like its pot. Not that trees come in pots. Well, sometimes they do. But you know what I mean. So I can tell myself a story that this is like my tree of... yeah, I don't know what. Whatever it is, this kind of a process can be very, very healing. This type of visual journaling. So of course now we went from making a book of scraps to like healing our inner child, you know. Okay, I'm gonna finish everything off camera. I'll be right back. All right, let me show you real quick what I've done. So here on the cover I found this from a magazine, Scrappy Beauty, and then I added The Journey Begins, and I like that it's hidden when the journal is closed. Moving along, over here you've seen this one, and then the fake writing, the faux writing. Over here I just added this word, wonderful. This page must be my favorite one when it comes to the words. So all I did here, I have a little bag of, I actually did a video a while ago, I'm going to link it below. You know, using phrases and sentences from a book. So for example, don't you ever get tired? And then, I don't know, listening to the sound and whatever. So I cut out little sentences and words, and then I can make my own poems. Now, how good the poems are, that really is beside the point. So here's this one. She was hesitant at first. She tried again. She had wondered why everything came to an end. She told herself, enough. Look into the light. Embrace your journey. Which was a surprising thought, indeed. So there we have it. That's a poem. I like it, you know. And what I did, it was a really meditative practice, I suppose, to do this. When I decided on my little poem thing and what I'm going to use, and this all came from different books, right? So you can see the different, anyway. And then I glued each piece onto black cardstock. And then I went around the edge of the black cardstock with my gold watercolor. So here's my little brush, and I just kind of, I actually ended up going on the edges of all the pages. When I did this, I was like, what will happen if I just, you know, go over all of the edges? So that's what I did. All of this was done last night, and I just woke up, and it's actually been exactly 7 days since I began this journal. And, you know, obviously I realize now this should have been done as a series, but nevertheless, here we are. Okay, enjoy the little things. There is good in every day. So you can see just little things added to each page. This is a stamp. These are the moments to always remember. And then over here, fabulous, lovely. I love my life. I don't know, listen, you know, I mean, I realize now I didn't do any quotes. I probably should have done some quotes. Here, just breathe. Thankful. I'm looking at each page as its own little thing. But when I'm flipping like this and just reading the words, it's a little bit lame. All right, love and let it go. And you can see that, like, where's the writing on this one, you know, or this one. Well, I suppose you can see this one right away, just because this one here, this actually is sticker, and it says, if something is meant to be, it will be. And what I was going to say, most of the words are very inconspicuous. You can't really see them right away. So it's not the focal point. Creativity takes courage. Celebrate life. The words and the sentiments and the quotes most definitely can be a focal point of a page. Totally up to you. The stars are always shining. Explore. And then, where's the words here? Over there. Embrace the journey. And then all the way down here, tiny little writing. I know that I'm home. That could mean different things to different people. And then, oh, I did this one kind of standing up. Turn up your inner voice. All right, so that's the words done. You can totally use your imagination here and how you want to add the words and the journaling and whatever. All right, we're moving on to the next element. And by the way, I'm just making these up as I go, to be honest with you. You can do these in any order. If you want to do words last or first, totally up to you. All right, the next thing I want to do is add a focal point. Now, the words can be the focal point, you know, but I'm thinking of like adding something special to every page. So it doesn't necessarily have to be a focal point, but I want something extra special. So I'm just going to start on this page here. So I pulled out some special stuff, you know, just little things that depends what you find special. I think anything kind of gold and metal is a little bit special. And look at this, like anywhere I put it, I don't know how well it's showing on video, but in real life it's just looking beautiful really anywhere I put it. And I'm going to glue this special piece right there. So I don't know how well it's gonna hold and how well it's gonna glue down, but there's only one way to find out. So on this page, I'm thinking of gluing either this or this down. It's not that special, but it's pretty cool. I'm gonna go with this one. And by the way, this isn't my last step. On this page, my go-to all the time is butterflies, but I'm trying like to refrain from using too many butterflies in this book. So I'm trying to find other things apart from butterflies, even though I think butterflies look beautiful in anything really. Doesn't that look amazing? Maybe I can have two special things on this page. Okay, I'm gonna stick with the butterfly. I'm gonna go with this green because it kind of ties in with the green in the page. So that's it, decision made. Now on this page, I'm not gonna be very innovative, and I'm just gonna go ahead and just use another butterfly because you know what? I like butterflies, so I'm just gonna do what I like. Should I add this somewhere? No. Okay, next page. I feel like adding color, more color. So maybe I can use something like this. And like I said, I know this probably should have been a series, but I don't know. When I have an idea, I just want to kind of get it out. And anyway, as you know, if you've been watching the whole video from the beginning, you know exactly how this came into being. So in hindsight, this should have been a series. If I had made one already and I kind of knew where it's going, then I could plan the series kind of thing, you know. But this way, I just wanted to get it out. That looks better. I really love how this looks like kind of like a tree. So I don't know, I feel like if I do anything to it, it's gonna take away. Maybe I can do something really simple like these gold corners. Yeah, and that will be it for this page. This is gonna be a long ass video. I said it. And I'm still not done filming clearly, and I still have to edit all this footage. It's gonna take forever. So I'm hoping it's worth it. I keep trying to find a home for these hearts, and I think that might not be too bad. But then also I've been eyeing this bow that I've had in my stash for such a long time. Maybe I can do both on this page, a bow and the metal hearts. All right, over here, more butterflies. Don't know where should I put these butterflies? Okie dokie. Next page. I am going to call this my focal point, and I just want to maybe add a little bling piece to it, just like so. Doesn't look like much in the video, but that's what I've done. And on this page, let's see, I have some angel wings. I think that's what that is. I have this thing, whatever that is, that's a no. And then I have this thing, bit of a blingy bling. I like the blingy bling. I like the angel wings too, but I like the blingy bling, so I'm gonna go with this. Here it is, a bit of blingy bling. Oh, it's looking so nice. Alrighty, next page. This isn't all that special, but I was looking at buttons and stuff to use there. But anyway, I opted for this circular compass thing. And now on this page, can't go wrong with butterflies. It's not everyone's thing, but it's my thing. Gold and butterflies. Even better if there's gold butterflies. And maybe I can make them like stick up like that. Ooh, 3D, even though this is just paper. Look at that. Isn't that cool? Okay, moving along. I am just going to add a layered flower, perhaps. We shan't make a big collage out of this process, but I have to say, if I wasn't like aiming to finish filming in the next hour or two, I would really take my time with this. But at the moment I'm feeling like, okay, anything will do as long as I get it done. But I think, you know, the pieces that I'm choosing, they're not too bad. They're actually quite nice. But there's a small part of me that thinks it could be even better. And now for this page, I don't feel like adding much over here. That'll do. Moving along. Right, so this here is, I'm gonna say, that's my focal point. I just want to add a little something there in the middle. I'm gonna add a little stir. It's a little stir and call it done. Okay, this page, maybe I can use some of these butterflies because I know that I can't go wrong with butterflies. Oh yes. You know, I wasn't joking before. I kind of said it in a joking way about how this was a book of scraps and it's become like this healing place for the inner child or something like that I said, and I was kind of mucking around. But you know what? If I'm being honest, I believe that 100% because the time you spent crafting is and being in this positive flowy state is the time you're not spending anxious and fearful and ruminating and full of guilt and thinking what you should have said and what you should have done or what you've got to do. So I'm not sure if that's making any sense, but when you're like just this, for example, celebrate life. Let's say you're building a page and you're putting stuff down and you're gluing, and then you're gluing the sticker down, you're inking the edges, then you're checking where you're gonna glue down. Celebrate life. You're in this moment focused on celebrating life. Creativity takes courage. For example, you're thinking about, that's for me anyway, might not be for you. You might be thinking, I hate this. You might be thinking, I can't wait for this. I just don't want to do this anymore. I don't know. But I feel like the time that you spend crafting is the time that you don't spend in that negative state, which I am all too familiar with. Let me tell you, all the things. Long time anxiety sufferer over here, all right? So if I can spend more time in this state, then I'm spending less time in that other state. Here we go, place some little feathers down. And you can build your book of scraps all around a specific theme. Let's say your theme could be gratefulness, for example. And every time you're working in your book, you're focusing on that element and your thoughts are focused on gratefulness. Okay, I shall continue and stop talking. Oh, I forgot this page. All right, celebrate life. Shall we do something like this? We shall. So this can be your happy place, your playground, place to come to escape all the things. Oh, that's looking pretty good. Oh, what could I possibly have in my hand for this next page? Oh, could it be some butterflies? What do we think about this? Butterflies? Oh, yep. Alrighty. Next. Wow. Surprise, surprise. What can I say? I'm just so original today with all these butterflies. It's just, I can't help myself. And lucky last page. I have this thing sitting on my desk for a while. I thought it might be time to use it. Maybe add a little something here. Alrighty. And, oh, that's the last page. So I'm not going to do anything here. I'm just going to leave it as it is. So let's just very quickly have a nice close-up view of all the bling pieces. This one we just have the gold. Over here I just have this gold bow, and then we have a butterfly and another butterfly, and these corner things, some puffy stickers over here. On this page I have a bow as well as a gold heart, and then over here we have some butterflies and then a little thing and a bit of that. This is probably too close, isn't it? But you'll be able to see the pages because we're not done yet. I still have a few more elements that I want to do. A few more, maybe just like every step I think is the last step, and then I think of something else. This was supposed to be the last step, something special, but then it's not, is it? Oh, I love these stickers, puffy stickers, and a little angel wing here, and then metallic hearts, and of course butterflies, and well, butterfly, and this thing. We are indeed nearly done with this endeavor, and the book is looking quite treacherous, is what I think. Might not be your thing. All right, next element. I can only fit 2 more things, and that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do 2 more things, and then I'm going to call it done, even if I have more ideas. All right, next thing we're going to do is add some stickers. Just bear with me on this one, all right? Because you might be thinking, what? However, I'm thinking more along the lines of a tiny little detail, maybe like something like this. So not something that's gonna overtake the whole thing, but just a little detail. So I definitely don't want anything that's going to take attention away from all of the other things that I've done. I want stuff that's gonna just blend right in. Like, have you even noticed this sticker here? I don't know, maybe you have. Oh, I like this placement better. Transparent stickers are the way to go. So you can use like little bits of washi tape maybe, or you can just completely skip the sticker phase. I got these transparent stickers from Kmart, and I think they're for like resin work or something like that. I'm not sure. I don't really think that every page needs a sticker, but it's just a little challenge I set for myself. So I like to do the same thing on every page. So I'm sticking with it, but not everything, not, you know, we can do whatever we want. Okay, the stickers are officially done. Just pointing them out, very, you know, minimal. Can barely see them, and I have to kind of really look for them, which was the whole idea. But stickers is probably maybe better to do like before the focal point or the something special. However, as you can see, it doesn't matter. Okay, that's it for stickers. And the very last step that I'm going to do before I call this project done is details. We can use white pen, black pen, bling, you know, just whatever comes to mind. So this is really kind of like where we look at each page and we think, okay, what else can I add to make this better? And then you just do that. Okay, so I just added a bit of twine there. Over here, I'm gonna go with my correction pen because I don't have a, well, I do have a white pen, but this will work just as fine. Going in with the black pen now. I love adding little dots. You can outline things and smudge things and whatever comes to mind. Okay, I'm gonna leave it there because this can seriously go into oblivion, but now I just want to do like a final flip through, if I can talk. And I'm not gonna point out all the details because we've just done the whole thing together. So I'm just gonna give it a little flip through. And I feel like I could keep going with this and keep some pages like here. I think, you know, I could do some more stuff, and then this looks pretty nice and busy, and I'm quite happy. Anyway, I'm calling it done and dusted, and I like it. I like how it turned out. This project was so much fun, and I'm definitely going to do it again. And perhaps next time I could do different stuff, and I could do a series rather than one video, so that you don't have to keep referring back to the video. You can have a playlist and then follow along, but still I feel like with the notes and the video you can embark on this journey. Now of course I'm thinking I want to add charms and hangy stuff, and I think I'm going to shorten this. And there we have it. The book of scraps is done and dusted. I think it looks much better on the inside than it does on the outside, but that's okay. I'm gonna turn to my favorite page, and then I think this is my favorite spread. Please let me know your thoughts. I am going to put the instructions or steps on screen next. Okay, I'm gonna leave this here, and then what? Nothing. I'm gonna put the instructions on screen now. The steps rather. Here we go, Book of Scraps by Treasure Books. All of the steps that you need, but you can of course jumble them up and make your own thing. Hopefully you found lots of inspiration in this video. Please let me know your thoughts. Let me know if you have already embarked on this journey. I promise you it's going to be fun. Add your own ideas, take out things you don't like, and just have fun in your little playground. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.